day. My name is Musa Makuvela, student number 204409. In this presentation, I will address the post-COVID-19 challenge of learning loss and cognitive regression in South African schools, with the focus on how Feuerstein mediated learning experience can be applied to overcome this challenge. Now, COVID-19 severely disrupted learning, especially in disadvantaged communities. A researcher by Siabi revealed that South African learners in remedial school faces significant cognitive function deficits, which were only worsened by the result of the pandemic. So the digital divide further compounded this issue, with many learners lacking access to online resources, resulting in widened academic gaps. The Department of Education in South Africa reported in 2022 that 70 to 100% of the year's worth of learning in key subjects. This loss it was a huge loss. This loss had a huge effect on the metacognitive skills, problem solving skills, and unlike traditional teaching, mediated learning focuses on intentionally guided interactions that develop learners' cognitive structures, equipping them with the skills to approach learning independently. This approach is critical for supporting learners who were left behind during COVID-19. However, Lomowski 2014 points out that the cost and sustainability are challenges in the South African context. Therefore, adapting mediated learning principles into existing teaching practice without relying on expensive material is key. Now, I will further discuss the critical challenge that the post-COVID-19 learning loss and cognitive regression among the school learners. Now, this learning loss has been driven by several key factors. Firstly, the digital divide severely. Many learners access to online learning platforms and digital resources. And secondly, it's the interrupted school during lockdowns that meant learners experience minimal mediated learning interactions with teachers, which are essential for cognitive development. Thirdly, is these factors have resulted in the regression of cognitive skills, particularly in problem solving and critical thinking abilities. So Lomowski further emphasized that intervention addresses these learning gaps. This is where Feuerstein's mediated learning experience become highly relevant. Mediated learning focuses on being guided in the mediation and the modifiability to solve problems and adapt to new learning contexts.
My name is
so that is my present. Oh no. Mediated learning experience becomes highly relevant. It focuses mostly on guided mediation that builds cognitive modifiability, equipping learners with skills to think critically and solve problems and adapt to new learning contexts. Now, applying Feuerstein's to address these challenges, I propose a practical action plan based on Feuerstein's mediated learning experience and principles. The goal is to bridge learning gaps by developing learners' cognitive modifiability in a cost-effective and sustainable manner. So step 1, teach as a mediator. Focus training. Teachers need to be trained to act as mediators, not just to content deliver, but this involves asking relevant questions that promote deeper thinking, model problem solving strategies for learners, scaffolding complex tasks with step-by-step support. This training can be delivered through online workshops and peer learning communities, making it affordable and scalable. Step 2, embedded MLE in classroom activities. Instead of creating separate program, principles should be integrated into daily lessons. For example, in language lessons, teachers can ask metacognitive prompts like, how did you arrive to these answers? In mathematics, tasks can focus on comparison and pattern recognition. Group activities should encourage peer mediation, fostering collaborative learning. And then step 3 is addressing digital literacy through mediated learning. Given that the digital divide, teachers must explicitly mediate their digital literacy, conducting step-by-step tutorials on basic online tools, designing problem-solving tasks that require digital navigation, using lower tech resources to stimulate digital learning experiences. And step 4 is monitoring progress using dynamic assessment. Teachers will use dynamic assessment methods to monitor learners' cognitive development. Unlike static tests where teachers use, assessment will focus on how learners respond to mediation and improve with guided support. With the expected outcomes, improved cognitive flexibility and problem solving abilities, reduced learning gaps in core academic subjects, learners empowered with digital literacy and critical thinking skills, a sustained and scalable intervention model for South African schools, even in lower resource settings. Those are the expected outcomes. So, by applying Feuerstein mediated learning principles, learners will develop enhanced cognitive modifiability. We will begin to bridge post-COVID-19 learning gaps. Students will gain essential digital competency, and intervention will support long-term critical thinking and problem-solving skills. And importantly, the model will be sustainable in low-resource environments. So, that is the reference that I have received from applying Feuerstein's mediated learning experience, and then there is going to be the presentation of applying Feuerstein's mediated learning experience. My name is Musa Makubele. I am your practitioner, I am your future educator. Thank you for listening, and thank you. That is my presentation.